Shalom friends, welcome to Daf Reactions, Yevamot 49. In today's Daf, something is discovered and that something is a murder. And no, I don't mean that Abaye epically shaded somebody again. Usually that is what I mean, but not this time. We've got a baraita. Rabbi Shimon ben Azai found a document doxing who is and who is not a mamzer. But something else was written on that sketchy document. A shocking accusation/clue. On the scroll was written, King Menashe of Israel killed Isaiah the prophet. Watson, the game is afoot. What was the motive for this killing? Apparently, Rava has a theory. Menashe judged Isaiah and killed him for being a prophet of fake news that contradicted the Torah. Wow, what did he say? Firstly, the Torah says you can't see God's face and live, and yet Isaiah said, I saw the Lord sitting on his high and lofty throne. King Menashe had never heard of hyperbole. Next problematic statement. Moses says God is so near to us as a nation whenever we call upon him. But Isaiah says call upon God while he is near, implying that maybe he's somewhere else sometimes? Next oopsie-whoopsie statement that got Isaiah killed, allegedly. The Torah says, I will fulfill the number of your days. That implies that each individual has a preordained lifespan. However, Isaiah does talk in a prophecy about adding years. I bet this is exactly where Chad got the idea back in Chagiga 4. Makes sense, right? So Isaiah says to himself, okay, King Menashe is not going to believe me, and he says one of God's divine names and transforms himself inside of a tree, which is a questionable decision because the king's servants immediately saw it down. And when they get to Isaiah's mouth, Isaiah dies. And the Gemara's like, okay, fine, but how do we resolve these conflicting verses? Well, the first one just means that while the other prophets were like looking at God through wavy bathroom door glass, Moses saw God through clear glass. In the second statement, Isaiah is talking about a person, not a community. For example, during the 10 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, God is closer to the individual. Okay, but what about the third problematic one, the one about lifespan? Isaiah's prophecy is referring to one who deserved to have extra years added to his life, while the verse in the Torah is for basic people who only merit a basic lifespan. One of my main questions is why Isaiah didn't just do like the Baal Shem Tov used to do and use God's magical name to teleport himself to a different zip code instead of into a tree. Also, we are extrapolating a vast quantity of information from essentially the back of a printed out Excel spreadsheet rolled into a scroll. But now that I think about it, that's very Jewish.